This is the story of Iori, a high school boy with a really unlucky love life. For a long time, he has been in love with the most popular girl in his school. He gathers his courage to confess to her, but just as he prepares to go, his childhood friend Huka suddenly appears. She asks if he wants to go to her house to watch a movie and spend time together, but thrifted Romeo rejects her because he has something significant to do today. Huka tries to stop him, but Iori ignores her and walks away. She sighs and suddenly notices a beautiful girl walking toward Iori. She senses something is wrong, so she decides to follow them, and her heart completely shatters. She sees her childhood friend and crush confessing to the most popular girl in school. As she watches the scene, her heart fills with rage. She vows that by the time they return from summer vacation, she will be a totally different person. She promises to make Iori regret not choosing her over anyone else. The scene shifts to the protagonist as he gets ready for school. During summer break, his parents went on a business trip. He lived his best life and spent the whole break speedrunning video games. But the honeymoon period is cooked, and it is time to go back to the grind. As he leaves his room, his cute younger sister tells him to move his feet, or they will be late. She asks if he is hyped. Since he is a clumsy person with zero riz and no friends, the day feels totally mid to him. She feels bad for her brother. The next moment, he teases her and asks her to introduce him to her friend group. The girl blushes and tells him to stop being a cringe lord. Their mischievous talk continues until they notice someone standing in front of them. His sister shouts Hyuka and gives a morning greeting. She looks like a literal goddess. She has a total glow-up, transforming from a shy girl who spoke to no one into a certified baddie. The protagonist tries to greet her, but he is completely shaken and cannot say a word. He just stands there, glitching over her new look. Hyuka says it is fine and jokes that maybe his facial muscles and vocal cords have logged off. He tries to tease her back, but she acts shocked that he can even speak. She tells him he should have spent his summer break working on his own energy instead of being a basement dweller. He comments on her really sharp tongue, and this made her really angry. Iori reflects on the fact that they were once close childhood friends who lived next door to each other, but since her high school debut, Hyuka has been avoiding him for some mysterious reason. By the time Iori realized they were growing apart, the distance was already massive. She has undergone a total glow-up, trading her old glasses and braids to become a completely different person, a literal top-notch baddie. Hyuka calls out Iori for being gloomy and warns him that his lack of main character energy will leave him with zero friends. Her words hit him like a direct punch to the gut. She just sighs at his ignorance. Our cutie tells him he should be grateful she's keeping it 100 with him. She complains about the morning drama and heads out, but not before telling him to pull up to her place later. Iori's sister is left shaken and asks him what he did to make Hyuka so salty. Iori admits he has no clue while watching Hyuka walk away, feeling like his social life is officially cooked. After that, Iori sits at his desk, sweating buckets because he and Hyuka are in the same class again. He thinks the vibes are way too awkward and honestly just wants to log off. Meanwhile, Hyuka looks like a total social butterfly. She laughs and chats with her friend Azusa about spring break, and how she just stayed home, watched movies, and lazed around like a total homebody. Azusa begins teasing her about her amazing figure. When a boy comments on the same, Azusa jokingly calls it sexual harassment. Iori watches the interaction like a hungry dog. He tries to play it cool and tells himself it's not like he's actually interested. Hyuka catches Iori staring and gives him a smug look. MC immediately panics and fakes being asleep at his desk to play it off. Suddenly her friend snaps her back to reality. Hyuka quickly apologizes as she just lost her train of thought. The friend leans in close to drop some tea, as if she is getting a love letter in the hallway. Her friends lose their minds, demanding to know about the mysterious sender. Iori can't wrap his head around the fact that simple girl Hyuka is out here receiving love letters. As the group leaves for the ceremony, Hyuka lingers for a second, leaving the atmosphere heavy with things left unsaid. She then stands over Iori's desk and tells him to move his feet. Iori, acting like a total NPC, comments on her popularity, but she casually drops the bomb that she gets confessed to almost every week. His brain starts glitching at the news. He wonders if she's just being super picky about looks, or if she already has a college boyfriend tucked away somewhere. This sends Hyuka into a mini rage. She calls him an idiot, as he usually tries to act like he doesn't care, but is actually down bad for the tea. Iori calls her a dummy and denies everything, but his curiosity is clearly stirring. Hyuka smirks as, unlike him, the guy who sent the letter is actually handsome, so she might not be able to say no. She reveals the mystery sender is Kudu from Class 6, a popular soccer player. Jealousy kicks in, and he mutters that he's never heard of him. Hyuka explains that her secret admirer asked her to wait in the classroom after school. Iori looks like he's just experienced a major lag spike. His mind drifts back to the unforgettable summer of his first year in middle school with his first major crush, Shimazaki Hiyori, the girl who used to sit right next to him, and how hard he tried to act cool around her, even though he was basically a total jerk. Hiyori was outgoing and constantly started conversations, making him blush. He remembers being convinced that his middle school crush was down bad for him because she was always so touchy. However, OG Huka, in her glasses and braids era, destroyed his confidence and, with zero respect, called him delusional. Even when MC told her how cool he feels with him, she told him that a popular girl is being friendly to everyone. She questioned Iori about his motives and warned him to be better off staying away from girls like Hiyori. Determined to prove his bestie wrong, the thrifted hero takes action without telling Huka. He calls Hiyori to the classroom after school and confesses his feelings to her in private. Back to reality, he asks her if she actually likes Kudu, but she admits she doesn't really feel anything for him. Confused, MC questions why the guy would even bother confessing to her then. He notes that people usually only take that risk when they are sure the other person feels the same way. Our heroine completely loses her mind. She looks at him with pure disbelief, calling him a dense idiot. He assumes that since a confession happened, they're basically a couple now. Hyuka lets out a massive sigh, clearly exhausted by his lack of logic. She makes it crystal clear that there is absolutely no way they are dating. He doesn't understand anything about how these social interactions work. Being a pro-misogynist, he advises her to take some time to think about it once she actually finds someone she likes. As he begins to walk away, he casually mentions that there might already be someone close to her who likes her. Hyuka is completely rattled by his comment, her face turning bright red as she shouts after him. Yori remains calm, simply stating that his words meant exactly what he said. This leaves Hyuka in a total state of panic. She starts spiraling, wondering if he's referring to himself since he's always right there near her, but he reminds her that she gets confessed to almost every month, and the reason she's so popular is simply that she's constantly surrounded by handsome guys. This comment clearly triggers Hyuka, and she finally snaps at him, calling him an idiot for confusing her when he has zero experience in romance. She brings up the ultimate burn, reminding him that he was the one who got rejected in the past. Clearly, men like him need to worry about their own lives instead of others. She declares that she doesn't care anymore and walks away, telling him to keep living his gloomy little life while staring jealously at her happy one. Yori is left completely speechless. On his way home, he wonders if he stepped on another landmine during their talk. His heart feels heavy, like he just lost a boss fight with 0 HP left, and then he sees a movie poster on a wall. It hits him right in the feels. He realizes how much things have changed. They used to be innocent kids, but now everything is high tension and messy. Back then, if they fought, Hyuka always apologized, and they watched a movie together. To fix his mood, our lonely wanderer goes to the cinema alone. He stands at the ticket machine and does not care what he watches. He just wants a distraction. He checks the times and has a while to wait. He decides to walk around the city and scroll through his phone to kill time. Suddenly, he notices a girl standing on the wrong side of a high railing, looking out over the edge. Panic sets in as he watches her climb higher. He's unable to believe he's witnessing a game-over moment in real life. Yori, in full panic mode, sprints toward the girl on the railing and desperately shouts that she still has a fun life waiting for her, trying anything to get her to step back from the edge. In his rush to save the girl, he accidentally tackles her, leading to a clumsy fall. As they both try to recover, Yori realizes he is accidentally touching her in a very inappropriate spot. The girl, blushing furiously, demands to know exactly what he thinks he's doing. Yori, realizing his massive mistake, can only stutter out an apology. The story takes a plot twist as the girl on the railing isn't a stranger. Coming back to her senses, the girl clarifies that she had no intention of jumping. She was simply trying to get a good look at the view because she recently returned to town and felt nostalgic. She laughs off the misunderstanding, though she does tease him about the accidental physical contact during his frantic rescue attempt. Iori is in a complete state of panic. As if this situation gets out, his peaceful life is officially over. He pleads for mercy, even bringing up the fact that he has a little sister to try and gain some sympathy. The girl then notices his school uniform and asks if he attends Koryo High School. Yori, still flustered, tells her he is just glad she didn't jump and quickly tries to make his escape. The girl watches Yori run away and reflects on how little he has changed. She clearly remembers his clumsy nature and instinct to help others. With a soft smile, she feels that they can play together again. The scene shifts to the next morning at school. As MC looks like a complete wreck, Hyuka finds him in this pathetic state and immediately judges him, as he looks awful. Iori is currently in an incredibly fragile state. Hyuka remains unimpressed by his theatrics, though she mentions she isn't the only one who might understand his situation. Suddenly, her friend Azusa teases her about how she is always watching over Iori. Hyuka immediately becomes defensive, as she has only known him from way back. Azusa simply offers a playful apology, clearly enjoying the tension she's created between the childhood friends. She laughs at the hilarious situation, as Hyuka and Iori have such a strange relationship that it is a mystery whether they actually get along or not. Iori remains slumped over his desk, stating that he prefers staying in the background. Azusa finds his shadowy personality funny, while Hyuka looks at him with a troubled expression, thinking to herself that he didn't used to be this way. Azusa comments again, and Hyuka grows annoyed that everything is being connected to her relationship with Iori. Her friend playfully brushes off her irritation and tells her to cheer up. As the banter continues, they realize that class is about to start soon, prompting them to wrap up their conversation. Azusa asks Iori and Hyuka if they have finished their classical literature homework. She suddenly panics because she has not done her own homework yet. She then turns her attention to Iori, and heart-lifting MC is confused, finds it hard to deal with such a cute girl being so friendly toward him. Iori struggles to stay awake through his classes, exhausted from a lack of sleep and the stress of dealing with Hyuka. Throughout the day, he hears his classmates gossiping about a super cute transfer student who has arrived at the school. By the fourth period, he is completely slumped over his desk. Suddenly, a loud noise startles him awake. He looks up as he realizes something important is happening in the classroom. Azusa tells them that everyone is excited about the new student. Hyuka pretends she does not care. She then teases Hyuka, asking if she would be upset if the new girl stole her crush. Hyuka gets very red and says she would not care, while Azusa notices MC sitting like a potato. Suddenly, the classroom door opens with a very loud bang. A girl with light hair stands in the doorway, and everyone in the room stops to look at her. She spots Iori and shouts his name happily. Before he can react, she runs over and gives him a hug in front of the whole class. Iori is completely shocked, and everyone watches with their mouths wide open in total surprise. Poor MC's brain short-circuits because this stranger already knows his name. While he stands there dazed, a sudden realization hits him like a truck, as this is the girl from the rooftop incident. He wonders if it's really her, while the rest of the class looks on in total confusion. As the girl continues to cling to him, Iori panics internally, wondering why she is even here. The tension peaks when his wannabe lover, Hyuka, appears with a dark, terrifying aura. Iori only offers a silent prayer for help, because he's just as lost as everyone else. MC tries to stop her, but she continues to cling to him like a baby. Our simp king starts admiring her closeness as she smells amazing. Hyuka loses her temper and physically pulls her away from her crush. The mysterious girl asks her if that's restricted. She shuts down the PDA immediately, as doing anything stupid is not allowed in a classroom. The mystery girl just laughs as she got carried away because she missed him so much. Hyuka is fully triggered, accusing Iori of looking way too happy. Poor MC is out here fighting for his life, claiming he doesn't even know her. The girl asks him why he doesn't remember yesterday's accident. Our fluff lord is internally screaming because he knows if the rooftop tea gets exposed, he's absolutely cooked. This sends Hyuka into a total hater era, as she starts wondering if Iori was actually out hitting on girls. MC tries to play it off, claiming he's not the type of guy to do anything sus. Hyuka decides to skip the middleman and get the truth straight from the new girl herself. The girl introduces herself as Amaya Yu, but Hyuka isn't feeling the vibes at all and demands to know why she's here, and she is dumb if that reason is the laziest person she knows. Amaya snaps. She gets super angry because someone insulted her friend. Hyuka watches her closely and asks if she feels bad for Iori. With a proud look, Amaya claims she knows him better than anyone. Our poor confusion captain looks at her with pure pity. He thinks she definitely has the wrong guy since this is the first time they ever met. But Amaya won't listen. She throws a childish tantrum and shouts that his face and name are exactly like those of Iori from her past. Finally, our clueless king reaches his limit. His peaceful life is turning into a messy drama, and he finally cracks. In a sudden burst of energy, he grabs Amaya's hand and drags her straight out of the classroom. The other students freeze in shock. It is like they are seeing a ghost walk by. Amaya actually loves the excitement. She enjoys the moment as they sprint toward a secret place to hide. Once they are alone, our grumpy hero finally speaks up. He asks if she has a specific grudge against him. He is annoyed because her drama put him in the spotlight and ruined his quiet life. He tells her how bad this situation is for him. Amaya stops and stares at him with total shock. Her voice trembles as she asks if he really doesn't remember her. She starts to explain their past. She reminds him of elementary school. Back then, they played together all the time because their dads were close friends. MC tries to use his little brain to remember. Suddenly, his memory hits him like a lightning bolt. She cheerfully reminds him of their special bingo sign. Iori is totally shocked. He looks at her and asks, "Wasn't she a boy?" He remembers her with short hair, always wearing a t-shirt and shorts. He even remembers her specific outfit perfectly. Amaya bursts into laughter at his silly conclusion. She tells him it is a win-win situation because his childhood bestie came back as a beautiful girl. But our logic master calls it completely illogical. Amaya thinks he is funny. She tells him they should hang out together since they reunited after a decade, but he denies her request immediately. She asks if he is worried about Huka, but he reminds her that Huka already turned him down. Iori tells her the real truth. People will get super jealous if they see him with a goddess like her. Amaya blushes like a shy bride. She tells him not to worry because she just wants to be with her bestie. MC thinks to himself that he should not have high hopes with such a beautiful girl. He tells her they must maintain a distance for their own good. He thinks the fluffy, sweet talk is finally over, but he is dead wrong. Amaya suddenly changes her tune and starts threatening him. She brings up yesterday and says she is going to tell the whole school. She knows exactly how to push his buttons. She warns him that this will absolutely destroy his precious, peaceful life. Our panicked protagonist has no choice but to surrender immediately. Amaya gets super excited because she finally has him where she wants him, but Iori has one big condition for their friendship. They must never ever talk about yesterday's incident again. He knows if the truth gets out, his reputation is toast. The chaos cutie agrees to his deal right away with a big smile. As they walk back to the classroom, Iori has a weird thought. He thinks that if things keep going like this, he might be socially erased from the school. To him, being a social ghost sounds like a great way to get his peace back. But of course, that is just his hopeful opinion. The scene shifts to Huka, who is definitely not in a good mood. She demands an explanation immediately. Iori tries to change the subject cleverly, but she catches him right away. She wants to know exactly why he is so close to the new girl. Iori panics because he cannot reveal the truth about the blackmail. He assures her that everything is normal, but Huka does not buy it. She strangely asks if Amaya is his ex-girlfriend, even though she already knows everything about his past. Our lad snaps back and asks if she is just mocking him. He finally tells her the truth. Amaya is his childhood friend. Huka shouts angrily because she has never heard of this girl. She is super jealous because she thought she was his only childhood friend. Iori shares that Amaya moved away before Hyuka even arrived. Hearing this, she then makes a sharp comment about his lovey-dovey behavior with Amaya. MC shouts back. Hyuka calls him shameless and disgusting for his moves. Teasingly, Iori asks whether she wants to join in. Hyuka turns bright red and replies embarrassedly that no way will happen. She tells him that these things only start with a real relationship. Iori says something harsh again, which makes her absolutely furious. She snaps back that he finally has someone to pamper him now. Iori replies that while it is nice to have someone caring, he and Amaya don't really match. But the chat ends quickly when the mystery girl yells for Iori to come over. Huka starts throwing major shade, telling the girl that Iori is usually a total NPC who wouldn't even move if he were called out loud. But Iori decides to head out with Amaya, leaving Huka standing there completely baffled. Amaya doesn't miss a beat and immediately clings to his arm. Huka watches them walk away together, her hand trembling in a fist because the whole situation literally makes zero sense to her. The tension hits a new peak when Azusa notices Huka's sour mood and leans in close with a smirk, letting out a smug look right in her face. Huka looks like she's about to short-circuit from the disrespect, her face twitching as she tries to keep it together while this new rival continues to poke the bear. Hyuka looks absolutely drained after the earlier drama, while Azusa leans in with far too much energy. Azusa doesn't hold back and asks Hyuka the reason for her sadness. She sadly wonders if she actually seems that cold to everyone else. Azusa replies that she isn't the liveliest and seems cold toward others. Azusa leans in with that smug energy, musing that she's basically a genius for figuring out that Hyuka is only this depressed because of Majimachi. To keep the momentum, Hyuka pivots to a story about a friend she's known since way back. She says her childhood friend recently met someone they've started getting close to. Hearing this, Azusa realizes Hyuka has been talking about Iori all along. Hyuka then adds that things might finally start to change. Miss Relationship Expert asks Hyuka how she'd feel if she were in the position. She admits she'd probably feel lonely and regret not showing her true feelings more. Azusa decides to take charge of the situation as a genius love master, 100% confident that she's the one to fix this mess. She tells Hyuka that instead of being icy, she needs to act spoiled to win over her guy. Amaya's logic is peak. Guys absolutely fold when a cold girl finally shows her cute side. Even though Hyuka is low-key skeptical, she starts visualizing her lovey-dovey era, and the transformation is so cute, it even shocks Amaya. However, she immediately hits a wall because she has zero idea how to actually act cute. Miss Love Guru suggests starting small with things like praising something simple, being honest with her feelings, or just giving a straight-up compliment. But it's too hard for Huka. Meanwhile, she starts suspecting that her bestie is low-key having fun with the situation, but she's just being a top-tier friend and doing her duty as an encourager, although she knows that Huka is the one with the situation. After that, they plan to talk on the phone tonight to discuss further. Yori is lying on his couch, completely overwhelmed, one of those life is soup, I am a fork moments. He keeps thinking about his walk home with Amaya, who talked non-stop while his social battery was already at 0. Now he's stressed, wondering if tomorrow will be just as chaotic. His thoughts are interrupted as his sister pushes him. After Iori accepts defeat and gets kicked off the couch, he watches his sister, Ruka, fangirl over the handsome actors in her show. He realizes with a sigh that Ruka is officially at that age where she's obsessed with romance dramas. The realization hits Iori like a truck. If she likes romance, that means she might actually get a boyfriend one day. He immediately goes into overprotective mode, declaring that he'll have to judge any future boyfriend himself, and he won't approve anyone unless the guy likes him more than he likes Ruka. She stares at him, wondering what the heck he's even yapping about. Ruka shouts at him to stop his proactive mode, but panic sets in when he declares that he will punch his BF as a starter. The next day, the protagonist enters the school and notices students gossiping about him, making him wonder why the tension is so awkward. He goes to pick up his shoes and finds Hyuka standing there. He knows her shoe rack is actually on the other side. She notices him yawning and asks if he stayed up late again, prompting him to angrily ask if she is a psychic. He realizes she probably just saw his lights on since they live next door. Suddenly, she stammers out a "good morning," which leaves him completely shaken. He is confused why she is greeting him so normally and wonders what kind of scheme she is trying to pull, but he cannot think of anything as she just repeats that it is a total coincidence. Hyuka notices Iori's hairstyle today looks pretty good and is different from his usual look. He shouts that it is just bedhead and says he will fix it later. Hyuka clarifies that it is not what she meant. Suddenly, Azusa arrives and greets Hyuka. Azusa says she is early today and pulls her away. Iori is left confused, wondering what that was all about. While being pulled away, Hyuka asks her why Iori is not happy since she complimented him. Azusa suggests she should have been more honest. Hyuka panics and says she cannot do that just yet and decides to do more research. Throughout the day, she keeps a suspicious eye on Iori while he is in school. He notices she is acting very strange, but decides to ignore it and start his lunch. Suddenly, Hyuka approaches him and asks if he is alone. She notices his bento. She says it is unusual for him to bring one, and he responds that he has to save money right now. Iori tells Hyuka that his usual group isn't around, so he is eating alone. Hyuka starts asking him to eat together, but Amaya suddenly appears and approaches him from behind, shouting his name. He asks if she finished the teacher's errand, and she excitedly tells him that she can have a lunch break. She admits she didn't have a bento because she couldn't get up on time. Realizing the school canteen will sell out, Iori tells Amaya they have to hurry, and they both rush off. Before leaving, he asks Hyuka if she was trying to say something earlier. She awkwardly denies it and tells him to just hurry up and go. As they leave, Hyuka feels down and whispers that she just wanted to eat a bento together like they used to. Her friend Azusa notices her mood and offers her chocolate to cheer her up. Azusa asks how things are going with the friend they discussed on the phone. Hyuka cries that it isn't going well and feels like nothing she says is getting through to him at all. Azusa feels overwhelmed by Hyuka's cute, sulky side and worries about saying the wrong thing. She complains about how hard everything feels, and she tells her she should try being in that position sometime. Azusa simply replies that she doesn't have anyone like that in her life. Deep down, she thinks that if Iori could see her right now, the whole problem would probably solve itself. Instead, she gently praises her and says not to worry because she's so cute that things will work out eventually. When Hyuka shyly asks if she really is cute, Azusa immediately insists that she's super cute. Then she invites her to have lunch together, and she gratefully accepts. Meanwhile, Iori and Amaya sit down for their meal. She looks at her food and complains that the situation is weird because she ended up with weird bread instead of the usual Neapolitan. Iori reminds her that this is what happens when she is late and has to settle for leftovers. Amaya sulks and says she should have made him buy it earlier. Her eyes then land on Iori's bento, and she repeatedly tells him he has something tasty. He gets annoyed and shouts at her to stop repeating herself like a broken record, even though his lunch is just a mess of frozen food and leftovers. Iori asks Amaya if she wants some of his food. She plays hard to get, but then offers a sketchy sandwich trade. Iori refuses, so she takes a bite of her own food and teases him about an indirect kiss. Iori yells that he is not falling for that and offers to share his food normally. Iori calls her a cheapskate, and she decides to go straight for his garage. Iori knows she wants a big prize without any effort. Since she doesn't have chopsticks, she suggests he can just toss the food into her mouth if he's worried about an indirect kiss. Iori realizes she won't back down, so he nervously agrees to feed her. Just as he goes for it, Amaya chomps down, putting her mouth directly on his chopsticks. Iori shouts in annoyance, but she just laughs and teases him, saying he must have been waiting for a more romantic moment. He gets flustered and insists that wasn't it at all. Amaya ponders what she should make him do next. Suddenly, Huka appears, curious about what the two of them are doing. Iori panics because he doesn't want her to see them like this. Amaya greets Huka, but Iori quickly tries to stop her. She questions if Huka is his friend, and he whispers that she'll only tease them. Huka frowns and remarks that they look far too comfortable together. She adds that she thought they were a lovey-dovey couple and wonders if Amaya is Iori's type. He immediately protests, explaining that it's a misunderstanding and that Amaya just hadn't eaten lunch yet. Amaya chips in, reminding everyone that Iori put the food in her mouth. Huka calls him a pervert. Amaya then invites Huka to eat with them, but she refuses. Amaya blushes and comments that eating with Iori is fun, reminiscing about when they were kids. Iori questions whether they really ate together that often, and Amaya confirms they used to eat at his house. Huka shouts that she ate there too. Iori is confused, but Huka insists it's true. She realizes she was being mean, so she shouts that she's leaving, complaining that they don't even eat lunch together anymore and walk away. The scene shifts to the protagonist, as Amaya invites him to play basketball. She urges him to keep going, but Iori groans as he has no energy left. Amaya notes he used to have more stamina and pushes him to go for one more. Iori focuses and scores a point just as the school bell rings. She declares that playing during lunch break is not bad. She loosens her shirt, drawing some curious glances. Iori tells her she should not do that in front of others. He thinks to himself that she needs to realize how cute she is. Amaya stretches and declares that exercise feels good. Iori tells her not to drag him along too often. She checks if that means once in a while is okay, and Iori nods. He thinks she's good at twisting his words. Amaya brings up that they used to play like this with his sister, Ruka, and adds that she wants to see her again, assuming she's grown into a beautiful girl. Iori gets defensive, shouting that it goes without saying. Amaya teases him for being a siscon. He insists he's just doting on his sister. She laughs, suggesting she might dote on her too, giving him a playful grin. Iori finally makes it home, his body aching from basketball. Maybe Huka was right about needing exercise, he thinks. As he prepares to sleep, Ruka suddenly yells that something is very bad. He tries to stay in sleep mode, joking about thinking of world peace. Ruka snaps that it's not the time for jokes and demands to know what he did. Confused, he asks for clarification. Ruka shouts that a woman is outside calling for him, claiming she's there to sue him and that he's going on trial. Iori scoffs at her dramatic flair, questioning what kind of villain arc she thinks he's in. He insists the only person who would come looking for him is Huka, but Ruka remains adamant, warning that this visitor is a total stranger and a certified baddie. Despite his skepticism, he's dragged toward the entrance just as the doorbell rings again. Ruka's courage evaporates instantly. She cowers behind him, calling him useless and insisting he face his crimes like a man. When he opens the door, he's tackled and pinned to the floor. Ruka panics at the sight of a girl sitting on him with a huge smirk. Amaya looks like she's having the time of her life, while Ruka goes into full protective mode, swinging wildly to pull the intruder away. Amaya dodges easily, laughing. Iori struggles to stay calm, completely overwhelmed by her constant movement. She giggles as Iori pleads for her to move. Ruka fumes, growling at the intruder to leave. Once he catches his breath, Amaya acts like she forgot she was using him as a human beanbag. Ruka checks if he's still alive before giving Amaya a major side-eye and demanding to know who this random woman is. Amaya asks if Ruka has forgotten her, but the teenager insists she has zero memory of her. Amaya introduces herself as Amaya Yu, causing Ruka to panic and question whether she's a stalker. Laughing, Amaya mentions it's been ages and compliments Ruka on growing into a certified baddie. Flustered, Ruka blushes and giggles, instantly won over. She asks what this pretty sister wants with her brother. Iori sighs, realizing his sister is a pushover for a few kind words. Iori recounts their childhood history, and suddenly Ruka remembers Yukun but notices Amaya's glow-up, questioning if she's cross-dressing. Amaya laughs, clarifying she's a girl, leaving Ruka shaken. She cheers that she's just here to hang out for the first time in forever. Yori warns that a girl shouldn't visit a guy's house alone and glances at Ruka for backup. Instead of agreeing, her eyes sparkle. She realizes her brother finally has a chance to make a move. Forgetting her earlier rampage, she announces she's going shopping, gives a thumbs up, and leaves. Iori shouts after her about safety, but she insists she's always on his team. Amaya praises the lively sister, while Iori calls Ruka his pride and joy. Though he acts annoyed she's already inside, he sighs and lets her explore. Amaya grows nostalgic and immediately heads for his room on the second floor. Before he can intervene, she dashes upstairs, catching him off guard. Iori panics over the mess, but notices she's letting her guard down, which feels like a massive boost to his adolescent heart. He averts his gaze to keep his cool. Reaching the room, Amaya finds it surprisingly clean, which Iori counts as a small win. He notes it's been a while since a girl visited, Huka being the last, and heads off to get drinks while his muscles still twitch from basketball. Returning with barley tea, he finds Amaya exploring. She beams and asks where he's hiding his secret stuff. Iori denies everything. Amaya feigns disappointment, joking that the internet must have made his stash obsolete. He tries to read her, wondering why she really showed up. Amaya shrugs, saying she just felt like it. When he questions if the current him is a total joke compared to the guy in her head, she shuts that down immediately. She explains she's been wanting to see him forever and that he hasn't changed. Still the same kind-hearted hero who helped her when they reunited. Iori calls her a weirdo. Amaya strikes a cute pose, coaxing him to admit she's grown up girly. He gives her a high score for effort, acknowledging she looks good and noting she never had a hint of a figure back when she was basically one of the boys. Her eyes sparkle. She's got him now. Realizing he's been checking her out, Amaya executes a power move, pinning him to the floor again. Iori's heart races, recalling past antics. She leans close, whispering a teasing remark. His brain short-circuits until she bursts out laughing, reminding him they used to wrestle like this all the time. He's left sweating and twitching, praying his heart doesn't stop. Suddenly, Huka appears, watching them like a thrifted spy. She attempts a smile, but her anger is unmistakable, radiating from her face. Back at her place, Huka is absolutely losing it, taking out her frustration on a poor pillow. She's fuming over how dense Iori is, wondering how he hasn't noticed her efforts while he's out here being shameless in broad daylight. She sniffs her stuffed animal, Azusa, lamenting that being the sweet type is just too hard. She tries to vibe and move on, but her curiosity wins. She peeks through the curtains, and her jaw drops. Amaya, you is right there. Her brain immediately goes to home date territory, and she starts shivering. She tries to cope by questioning if Amaya is even a girl, but then she spots the final boss of awkward moments. Amaya has flopped onto Iori's stomach in a dramatic, playful collapse. Hyuka's eye starts twitching as she watches them skip about 10 chapters of romantic development. She can't hold it in anymore and practically vibrates with rage, thinking about how her loner neighbor is actually a secret player. She scoffs to herself, calling the whole scene unsettling.
Here I am, know it's been